Good evening, and welcome to the Autism Blogcast. I'm Jim Mancini.
And I'm Rafe Bernier.
There have been multiple reports in the media recently regarding rising anxiety levels since the new administration took over in January. We have seen this here at the Autism Center as well, as teens and young adults have expressed concerns related to their future. Anxiety is often co-occurring in autism. So Rafe, what do we know about autism and anxiety?
Well, we know that anxiety is one of the most commonly co-occurring diagnoses in autism. It's diagnosed in at least 39% of children with autism. And we know that children with autism and anxiety have more functional and adaptive impairments. They spend more time in therapy, and they receive more medications than their non-anxious peers with autism. So what does all that mean? Well, it means we need to be working on fine-tuning our treatments more effectively. There are evidence-based treatments for managing anxiety in individuals with autism, and those rely on principles of cognitive behavioral therapy, which is called CBT. And those approaches incorporate individual differences that are particular to autism. Things like sensory sensitivities or difficulties with responding to changes in routines. In fact, we have a program here at the Seattle Children's Autism Center to specifically address anxiety for children with autism. But let's talk about anxiety in general. And reviewing all the components of CBT for anxiety in autism is probably beyond the scope of our 4-minute blogcast. Although I'm happy to drone on for that for the next hour or so if that would be of interest, but maybe not. I will stay focused. What if we were to talk specifically about managing anxiety associated with the current political climate? Jim, perhaps we could just share some helpful tips.
That's a great idea. It's almost like I thought of it myself. So, first step is to provide some education with your family member with autism about politics. So you could discuss what the different roles in government are. So there is basic knowledge. Knowledge can help to reduce anxiety, but it's critical to present this in a neutral way.
Right, and I guess then I'd say step 2 is to really encourage your family member to then ask questions. And when those questions come up, try to be patient and emotion-free.
Related to that is to explain emotional or disturbing issues from multiple perspectives. That can be a challenge when you're watching the evening news or getting an update on your phone, but it's absolutely critical to discuss those topics without your own emotions getting the best of you.
And a great way to start the conversation is by reading books that are both interesting and that touch on political topics. Just last week with my 5-year-old, he and I sat down to read the Butter Battle book by Dr. Seuss. After that, we got into this really great conversation about war and governments. And by great, I mean, it was late and I was exhausted. All I wanted to do was go to bed. But it was still a really engaging conversation about governments and war and what does all that mean.
Sounds like a book you should read during the afternoon reading time, not right before bed. But finally, for your family with autism, you can use this opportunity to teach social skills and conversational etiquette because for many, politics is an emotional conversation. So you can try to teach listening, not interrupting, watching for the other person's tone of voice and facial expressions, and when and with whom to talk about certain topics.
I love it. I mean, I could probably benefit myself by reminding myself of those conversational pointers.
We'll end tonight's blogcast with a quote from Mr. Rogers, who said, "When I was a boy and saw scary things in the news, my mother would say to me, 'Look for the helpers. You will always find people who are helping.' We'll see you next month."